If you're the United States, sometimes you can feel lazy and think, you know, we're so big, we don't have to really know anything about other people. If you see the environment destroyed, it's not because that's necessary for development. It's usually because we're being lazy and we're not being as creative as we could be.
Come on, Mr. President. President Obama calling Americans lazy twice, and he did it during a town hall overseas. But should a U.S. president ever criticize U.S. citizens, especially in a foreign country? Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bolling. Welcome to Cashin In. Our lazy Cashin In crew this week: Mercedes Schlapp, Gina Loudon, Jessica Tarlov, and Kristen Soltis Anderson. Welcome, everybody. I feel like I'm outnumbered. Gina, why are you so lazy? And should the president be calling you and I lazy, especially from overseas?
Yeah, allow me to translate his lib speak here that is so regressive. He's really giving a socialist message here. He's trying to say that because America is a free market, if we were more regulated by the government, we'd somehow be cleaner. But the irony here, Eric, and the big fat lie from the left is that the actuality is that we are the freest country in the world, and we happen to be the cleanest country in the world. So he needs to get his facts straight.
So, Mercedes, we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money making sure our air is clean as can be. Meanwhile, China, Brazil, these countries overpollute. And remember, it's a global, pollution is fungible. So if they're polluting there, we're breathing it here. Who's lazy here? Is it us or is it other countries?
Well, obviously, Obama is very upset. He's throwing a tantrum because of the fact that Congress has not moved forward on his very radical environmental agenda. He's moved forward, obviously, on so many of these regulations, especially on the coal industry, causing electricity prices to go up. So there's these big challenges for the president. So I think it's very easy for him to just point the finger at Americans saying, oh, we're not lazy, we're not picking up after ourselves, which I have to tell you, Eric, it's very insulting because as a leader of the free world, when you go abroad, you're representing every single American. And I think that it's unfortunate when he points a finger right at his own people. It's very discouraging, and I think it sends a wrong message abroad.
Very good. Jess, do you agree with the president? Are Americans lazy because, I don't know, we don't spend enough money on climate, on making sure the environment is safe and clean, or we don't understand other cultures enough? What is this all about?
Well, I'm going to give, since Gina said that he was speaking lib speak, I'm going to lib speak it now and say that I think that President Obama was being diplomatically lazy himself when he used that term. I think that the better term would have been easy, actually, and that because we have such a vast, culturally rich country here in America, that sometimes Americans don't travel abroad. We know that 46% of Americans don't have a passport. We also know that our passport is the 5th most expensive in the world, and that should be dealt with. So I think that if he had made that point to talk about how important it is for Americans to engage with others across the world, it would have gone down a lot better. As to the climate change issue, Mercedes is right. We do have all of these regulations, and Obama, he does want more. He wants us to become even greener. So while we're leading the way, there's still a lot of work to do, and, you know, he just signed his big climate pact. So I think he wanted to send that message home, but lazy, no, that was the wrong word.
Yeah, Kristen, a little bit tone deaf on that, because I'm sure a lot of Americans on both sides of the aisle are a bit offended by being called lazy. We do a lot to clean our environment and other things.
Well, it's one of those things. So let's take this cleaning metaphor, where if you're a parent and you've got a kid whose room is messy, you can tell your kid, hey, you need to clean up your room. But if all of a sudden you're running around the neighborhood constantly telling everybody, oh, my kid is so terrible, and you're the kid, I mean, you're not going to like that, right? So I think of this as sort of like, it's one thing to say, look, we need to get more creative. We should be more innovative. We need to unleash innovation here in this country. Right now, there are lots of people that want to do things to promote clean energy, but there are 18 million layers of regulations you've got to get through to make it happen. Let's deal with that. Let's let people be creative here instead of hamstringing them with all kinds of regulation. But that doesn't, going overseas and just saying, well, we're just lazy. Lazy is absolutely the wrong word, and it's the wrong venue.
It was the wrong word, but there is more nuance to what he was saying. He did use the word creativity actually explicitly to say that he wants us to get more creative about what you're doing. You know, it is to a certain degree to take that extra step to, for instance, you know, recycle. I know that that sounds like a reductionist way of looking at this, to compost, to use the right detergents, to live in a place that has solar panels, you know, building windmills. This takes money, creativity, and
but a
vision.
lot of it, so it's not about laziness. It's because that stuff's very expensive.
Okay, Kristen, finish the thought, and then I'm going to bring it around.
Yeah, I mean, that's not laziness. The fact that everybody doesn't have compost piles in their backyards and solar panels on their roof isn't because America's lazy. It's because a lot of that's really expensive to do. And there's a perception that that's only for the elites. And I think sometimes the left wants to assume, well, everybody's just lazy because they don't have solar panels on their roof, instead of trying to make it so that it can be affordable. It's not tens of thousands of dollars, something that's only going to pay off over decades of time. We've got to make it cheaper if we want to make more people do it. It's not about laziness.
Let me bring up Gina and then Mercedes. Your thoughts on, let's talk a little bit about the regulation. There is an onus regulation. The EPA, there's been studies that show literally hundreds of billions of dollars the EPA costs businesses with overregulating. That would kind of fly in President Obama's face. And we're spending a lot of money with adhering to his regulations.
Yeah, and let's not forget, just like everything with this administration, this Obama-Clinton administration, a lot of this is pay to play. A lot of these contracts, these environmental contracts that are supposed to clean up the environment, go to their political friends for political favors. And a lot of these so-called environmentalist policies, like these wind farms and other things, are very lucrative for the people who actually get the contracts. Let's not forget that. But let's also consider the context, Eric. He made this comment in Laos. That is such a slap to everything free and American and the American way. And I think it's just more of what Obama does in the case of leading from behind.
All right, Mercy, final thought.
I just got to tell you, you know what makes American lazy? When the federal government is so involved in their lives from cradle to grave in our businesses that they don't allow American creativity and American innovation to be unleashed.
There you go. There you go. Way to wrap that one up, Mercedes. Coming up, the mainstream media finally getting a crack at Clinton. Hillary holding her first press conference in more than 9 months. Wait till you hear some of the softball questions reporters threw at her.